So this week's sweet treat is pumpkin cookies. Now, I got this recipe from Cooking with JB. She actually made these on her channel, and it's funny because my husband's nickname is JB. So it was just like it was speaking to me, and I had enough ingredients to make one batch. So I have a thing of Crisco here. I found some pumpkin in the freezer. I have one egg that goes in. I have some pumpkin spice that I found in the back of the cabinet, which I don't use very often. And then my sugar, salt, baking soda, everything I have. So we're going to make this. So into my mixer goes my Crisco, which I don't use very often. I was surprised to find it. I have it, but I was just surprised to find one package that was open from a 3-pack, and I had one left. So it was like meant to be. In my mixer goes with the sugar, and I'm just going to cream this a bit just to soften that up and get it sort of started to incorporate and cream together. So now that I have those two creamed together, I'm going to start adding my pumpkin in, and this is where my first mistake came in. Now, I thought the pumpkin was sort of on the room temp side, but as you will see, it was kind of on the cold side. It starts to separate or curdle the mixture, sort of, but I kind of put it together in the end. So remember, bring your pumpkin if it's frozen, because that's where I got mine from. It was frozen. Bring it up to room temp. In my case, I should have just put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds, because my kitchen is freezing. So now I'm going to measure out and mix together all my dry ingredients. So my flour, my baking soda, and my salt, and my pumpkin pie spice. Yeah, don't measure things like me. As you can see, you should really level off your flour and be precise with it. I'm really not. So this is how I do it. Do as I say and not as I do, kind of thing. So in goes my pumpkin spice, and then my salt, and I'm just going to take my little measuring teaspoon and just mix it all together. You can use a whisk. Do whatever you like to do. I don't like to wash dishes that often or that much, so I'm using what I already have dirty. So I just take my teaspoon and just mix it all in together. Make sure it's all distributed throughout, and then I'm just going to add it to my Crisco, pumpkin, sugar, vanilla, because I did add vanilla, and my egg mixture. As you can see how it kind of looks like it's almost separating, but once I put the flour in, it comes out really good. I did end up mixing it good and thoroughly to make sure all the flour was mixed in, and because this KitchenAid, sometimes your flour gets stuck in the bottom of your bowl, so I made sure to scrape down every so often and make sure my flour got well incorporated. And even though this was a really liquidy mixture, before I added the flour, you want to do it on a low speed because it will puff everywhere. So this is what the cookies look like after everything is mixed together and it's ready to be baked off in the oven. So I am using a cookie scoop just to make them sort of uniform. So I'm just going to take the batter and put them onto the cookie sheet. I actually felt they were kind of big. She made hers on the big side, and I felt they were kind of big, so I actually, on the next one, I went down a scoop size, and I felt that was a better size for what I was going for. So I'm just putting them on the cookie sheet, and then I'm going to bake them off and let them cool a little bit while I'm making the icing for the top. This is not a sweet cookie, the actual cookie part, because you do put an icing on it, and that's where most of your sweets going to come from. She said you can't eat them just like that, and I did try one and they were pretty good without the icing, but they were better with the icing, we felt. And this is the first batch that has come out, and I'm just putting them on a cooling rack and let them cool before I make the icing. So here it goes. I melted my butter and I put my brown sugar in there and kind of melted down my brown sugar, just dissolved my brown sugar before I added in my vanilla and icing sugar into this mix. And I did put it in the microwave for about 10 more seconds just to make sure my brown sugar was dissolved and didn't cause a problem later. So in goes my icing sugar, and I'm going to mix this up, and I'm going to thin it out a little bit with some milk and vanilla. Now, this is where I made my second mistake. I was chasing, and she said not the icing consistency I was looking for. I added too much milk, then I had to add more icing sugar. It was just a mess, back and forth, back and forth. Well, actually not back and forth, just kept adding icing sugar because it was too liquidy, I thought, to go on to the top of the cookies. So I actually ended up taking some of the mix out in order to get the consistency I wanted before I added more icing sugar. And I'll just use that for, cinnamon rolls or something later on in the week. So this is the consistency I ended up with, and I'm going to ice my cookies with it and give them a try. Now, you know what this reminded me of? An Amish cookie I had probably about, 6, 7, 8 years ago maybe. It is reminiscent of this cookie I had from an Amish bake shop. That's what it reminded me of. And I will make this again, but I definitely will be trying my hardest not to make the same mistake I made with the icing and the pumpkin in the beginning. But here I am icing the cookies, and they were pretty simple. And the icing, she said, does harden up, and mine did harden up enough to where I could stack them into a container. Not that they lasted very long anyway in my household. They were gone within a couple of days. So, yeah, this was our sweet treat for week number 2. So this is what the pumpkin cookies turned out to be, the finished product with the icing. I will leave the ingredients and the recipe in the description box below. We did have the recipe because we don't really need this much sweets in the house at one time. And they were delicious. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. Thank you very much and have a great day. And on the side is my ever-present jar of my vegetable water. So let's get this started.